The state superintendent of schools is proposing free lunches for all students regardless of household income. Dr. Jill Underly is asking for nearly $300 million in her 2025-2027 biennial budget request to make that happen. Now, if that request is granted, schools that are part of the National School Lunch Program would receive free meals. In addition, Underly is also requesting funds to expand the school breakfast program, create a new program allowing schools to buy directly from local farmers, and create a new grant program to purchase new milk coolers in schools. Those provisions adding another $311 million to the budget request. The Department of Public Instruction's budget request will be released in full in November.